Hey again, I just have to say that I got to tell you about my day. This morning, I had to go to the doctor, and while I was there, there was a gentleman sitting with his leg, older gentleman, sitting with his leg shaking. So, me being the empath and naturally caring person, I sat a chair away from him, asked if he's okay or if he's nervous. He told me he's not nervous. He has bladder cancer, and they gave him chemo chemicals, and he had to wait about an hour to use the bathroom. So that's why he was shaking. So then we got into talking about his bladder cancer, and I told him what I do with my beard. And then nurse came out, and he had actually gone through, sorry to change it, he actually had gone through 3 surgeries on his belly, and they just kept going in and going in. Then he had to go to a doctor, and his doctor said, this is the best I can do. I'm going to send you to somebody who knows more. So he went to this other doctor. The doctor said, what can I do for you? He said, my doctor sent me here, says you should be able to help me. Excuse me. He looked at his paperwork and he said, no, nothing I can do, but I can tell you, you're old, you're fat, and you're going to die. Oh boy, that dude was pissed. And he just walked out of there. Then he went to another doctor, and they said, yeah, we can help you. And at this time, a nurse came out checking on him. He says, oh, I'm doing fine. This young man is sitting here keeping my mind busy and just talking with each other. And she goes, cool. So she went back. Oh, before she left, I should say, she asked about his wife. And when the nurse went back, I said, so tell me about your wife. A couple years ago, she broke her hip while they were in church doing a after-school activity. And story short, she had 3 surgeries also because her hip kept opening up, the wound did, and leaking all over the place. And they kept going with the doctors. The gentleman said to the doctor, did you ever check for yeast infection? Could it be that? Because what he told me is she's had yeast infection all of her life. So the doctors are saying, no, it ain't that. No, it can't be that. We know what it is. But they never got it fixed. Finally, he was talking to somebody at church, and they recommended a doctor, and they volunteered to take them both out there to Charlotte. They did. And the doctor looked at her and everything else and the papers and x-rays and said, I'm sorry to say, but there's only a 30% chance that I can do anything for you. So I tell you what, I know you're a believer in God. So why don't you go home, pray, talk to your church people, have them pray. I'm going to pray for a miracle. And then he also said, by the way, could it be yeast infection? And the doctor says, highly doubt it, but I'm going to run that test. Before they got home, he got a call saying, by the way, your 30% just went to 70%. It was yeast infection. So she was bedridden for 8 months with no hip. Now, here's another part of that horrible story. I ended up having to leave because it was my appointment time. So I had my exam. I came back out. He was sitting there. I sat back down. I said, okay, I am out of work for 6 weeks, and I got nothing doing today. So why don't you go ahead and finish your story about your wife? So I sat there listening. The ending part is they were there 6 weeks. It was supposed to be 8 months, the doctor said. But they were there 6 weeks. And they took the PICC line out and said, you got to go to a nursing home. He didn't understand any of that, said that's not what the doctor said. So he did some investigations. Lo and behold, the person who filled out the paperwork was supposed to do long-term, did short-term. The people that she worked for fired her and said, I am so sorry, sir. That's what happened. He's okay, good. Call Medicare and tell them that everything is fine and is back to normal. And she said, I'm sorry, sir, it doesn't work that way. Once your case is closed, it's closed. So then, excuse me, now she is up and about doing a whole lot better. Apparently did not go to rehab. Didn't hear the rest of the story because it was his turn to get called back. So I prayed over him and wished him well. He said, thank you so much for sitting with me. I said, you're very welcome. And then I walked out. And then people were like in awe because they thought I was there for my appointment still. But when he left, I left. That is the kind of day that is just mind-blowing for me if I really think about it. But what it is me listening to God tell me, hey, you got nothing to do. Sit and listen to this, young man. So if you hear something tugging on your heart, feel something tugging on your heart, or hear something in your ears, that's God telling you what to do. It's up to you if you want to listen. But I tell you what, if you listen, you will be so surprised on what he has in store for you. All right. I am out. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye.